perfect example. There's a podcast out there that I listen to on a regular basis, and they drop every, I think it's every Friday or every Saturday is the podcast episode. I always listen to it on Sunday on my walk, and they haven't been there for 3 weeks. And I'm wondering what happened. Are they away on vacation? Are they, did they just drop the podcast? Is it something that they just decided that they were going to focus on other things? Because they're doing other things. There's two or three other programs that I see in my social feed and I see on my on the emails, but I haven't seen anything from the podcast. So you sit there at times and go, okay, what happened? And I think as podcasters, we need to set an expectation for people. If you're going to say that you're going to podcast, it's going to drop at 10 o'clock in the morning every Wednesday an episode needs to drop. And even if, oh my God, I can't do it, you can sit there and say, you know what, here's a podcast that we did a year ago that I really thought that was valuable. And I wanted to put it out again. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If all of a sudden somebody gets sick or you're away on vacation or whatever, I always, between Christmas and New Year's, I always drop the best episodes from the previous year. Because nobody wants to be a guest over Christmas and New Year's. Nobody wants to work over that. So I just tell my people, I said, look, take 2 episodes for the last 2 weeks of the year, and that were these really good episodes, and let's make those the last 2 episodes of the year.
Do you need to be routine, or can you, like, I have some podcasters that I follow that they drop stuff when it's important, and if I follow them, then I just look on YouTube or whatever, search them out and see what they've got next. So
that's up to you and your schedule. I mean, I'm a creature of habit. Most people are creatures of habit. Most people are looking for things on a regular basis. And as the expression goes, out of sight, out of mind. True. So, if you're going to podcast once a week, podcast once a week. If you're going to podcast twice a month, podcast twice a month. It's like a blog. If you see blog posts and you go on people's websites and there's 6 or 8 blog posts, and then there's nothing for 9 months, and then there's 3 more blog posts, and there's nothing more for a year and a half. And you sit there and go, do you care about this? Do you care about your people, or do you don't care about it? I look at it as, do you care about your audience? And your audience is expecting you to come up with a schedule, whatever that schedule is, and if you can maintain that schedule, then that's how the consistency is what allows you to be able to move forward and be able to grow an audience.
It's a discipline too. Yeah,
it is. It's absolutely a discipline. Yeah. I mean, I'm recording, 6 or 8 episodes at a time in a week. Like I'll go 1 week and I'll record 8 or 10 or sometimes 12 episodes in a week, and then give them to my team for, editing and putting them all together. And then I'm good for the next 12 weeks. And then, 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 6 weeks later, I may record another 6 or 8 episodes and then put those into the system. And so I'm not trying to keep up with a weekly schedule. I'm pre-doing. I wouldn't do more than 8 or 10 episodes at a time. Just be able to keep relevancy with, in case something goes wrong or something happens. But having a few episodes in the can ready to go that you can just say, here's the next 3 or 4 weeks. Bye, I'm going on vacation, and that those episodes are still going to drop. Your people are being taken care of. Your audience knows that you're there, whether you're in the Himalayas or whether you're at your desk. That episode is still there.
So you're setting up the expectation, and then you're delivering. So you get people in that habit of looking for you at that time.
Exactly. So I know who my guests are going to be until the end of the year. Now, I haven't recorded all those episodes. I'll tell people, it says, look, I want you to book a time 6 weeks before that date. And I'll send them out a reminder, and we'll set it up in the calendar and book it out. But, so that way, if it's 6 weeks out, if something happens and we need to reschedule it, at least we can schedule it when we can still get it out on time. But, by knowing what I'm going to be talking about over the next 24 weeks, I at least know who I'm talking to. I may not know exactly what we're going to be discussing on air. We may have a general idea about what the conversation is going to be about, but it gives me time to go back and research them and look through their website. And, if they've got a book, at least read through the précis of the book. those type of things, to be able to give myself an idea of the direction that I'm going in. The last thing any podcaster wants to do is this, okay, what am I doing next Tuesday? What's coming up? What's the next episode coming up? You need to develop a strategy, a schedule, and be able to plan this thing out. So therefore, if something goes wrong, you can pivot.